love it. Okay, guess what? We're talking about reality. Reality. We have 4 types of reality in UNICULT. The first is personal reality. Personal reality is your own personal reality. It's your interpretation of the world as you see it, as you interpret it, as you think everything is happening. If you are like, I am a kind and wonderful person, and you go about your life and you believe that, it doesn't matter what your actions are, because that's actually what your reality is. If you're like, I'm from space, it doesn't matter if you're not really from space or if you are from space. What matters is that you think you're from space. Whatever you believe about yourself, about your own position in the world, about how you relate to the world, about how the world operates, every single thing that your little sentient brain interprets and understands as your own consciousness is your own personal reality. And guess what? Your personal reality is valid. Can you guys tell I'm cured of my caffeine addiction? I did it. Your personal reality is valid. It's real. It's reality. I'm not saying it's reality for everybody. I'm saying it's reality for you. Every person has their own unique individual reality that is absolutely valid, that is absolutely true in a universal sense. I'm talking about ultimate truth. I'm talking about the absolute most true thing that can happen. Everything you experience and believe is reality, is true. That's personal reality. You have profound effect to change your own personal reality. When we're talking about changing the world, the most easy way to change the world is by changing your own personal reality, because you have the ability to actually shift your own consciousness, because you are your own consciousness. You have the most power to shift your own consciousness because you are your own consciousness. It's the most power you have over anything in the entire world. You literally are it. That's everything you are. So if you want to change it, like if I want to change, if I wanted to take this piece of paper and I wanted to tear it, okay, well that's outside of myself. This is something else. It's still my own consciousness interacting with it, but this is outside of my own consciousness. Inside of my consciousness, whatever I do is direct. I am it. If I was that piece of paper and I wanted to change that piece of paper, I'd be in a very different position. So think about that. You are your own consciousness. You have the most power to create your own reality, and your reality is valid. It has more power than you can even begin to imagine. It's very important, and it's wonderful. Okay? Honor it. You say, but Unicole, if I believe that I'm not going to get hit by a car and I walk into the street and I get hit by a car, that's not very healthy, is it? And I say, no, because that's not the end of the freaking story. Hang on. We've only done one part of the reality, and there's 4, okay? So we're only down to 1. Second one, when you get hit by a car, if you're going to walk in the street, that's called physical reality. Physical reality is physical reality, okay? It's the actual happenings of the world. It's this simulation, or whatever we want to call it, of physical space, of actual physical consequences of physical reality. Can we change physical reality from our own personal perspective? Yes. We just use our perspective and put it into our physical bodies, and we change the physical reality with our beautiful hands. So when we are wanting to change physical reality, we simply take our consciousness and we put it into our physical body, and we speak words, and we influence each other, and we take our hands and we create castles and build buildings and cars and computers and art, whatever we want to create. And we can change physical reality by manipulating it through our own physical forms. We made Wi-Fi, Spencer says. So physical reality is actually rooted in consciousness. We don't realize this. But just like our physical forms are responding from consciousness, so is all physical matter. Let's talk about this keyboard. This keyboard isn't sentient, right? We're going to assume it's not sentient. My sentience, I know that I'm sentient because I am me. I can vouch for my own sentience. I say I am sentient. I know that. You don't know if I'm sentient or not. Your own consciousness is not my consciousness. How can you say that I'm sentient or not? You can't. It's not up to us to determine the sentience of another being. But let's look at this. This is a theoretically non-sentient physical object made of plastic that was designed. Okay, why then, let's say that I put this in my closet and I forgot about it. And I didn't think of it at all for 100 years, and nobody else thought about it for 100 years. When I open the closet, would it still be there? Yes. And that is because in physical reality, things have lasting effects. This is the same in spiritual reality as well. But do we need to add spiritual reality? I don't think so. Think about that. The intention of the people who created this beautiful keyboard and the intention of the materials, because each thing has its own intention, and intention is where we're getting consciousness. So the plastic that was created and the designer who created this and the manufacturer and the person who shipped it to me and the fact that I bought it and the fact that it's here in physical reality means that it's going to have a lasting effect in physical reality because the intention of what created it is there until the intention disintegrates. Plastic has something with a strong intention. It lasts forever. Forever. We'll figure out how to recycle plastics pretty soon. Okay, physical reality is also reality. We have to honor it. We have to be okay with it because it's here all around us. We have to honor it and respect it. We can have a pretty strong effect on physical reality through our physical forms, but we also have to honor it. So we can't necessarily easily fly at this point. Someday we will be able to, and we can't easily walk into traffic or jump off a cliff and not have anything happen to us. We respect physical reality as it has its own intentions and its own consequences. How we relate to physical reality is going to be our own personal experience and our own understanding. Is your blue that you see my blue that I see? You know, that's your interpretation. That's your personal reality. Social reality or collective reality is the idea of the collective. Let's say you say, well, in my personal reality, I think we should all live sharing everything, and I don't think money should be a thing, and I don't think Donald Trump should be president, and I don't think that anybody should fight. So why is everybody fighting, and why is Donald Trump president, and why are we using money instead of sharing all of our stuff? I thought that I was creating my own reality. Why can't I have an effect on collective or social reality? Well, that's because each person has their own personal reality. And when you get more than one person with the same belief, that belief is doubly, at least, as powerful. So I believe we shouldn't have money. But guess what? A bajillion other people believe that money is powerful and that we should have money and that money is a good thing to operate with. So my singular weight of my own reality is up against the weight of however many people who believe that we should be using money and not sharing everything, and people hate that idea, and so I'm here alone while everybody else is using money, and I have to conform then to the majority in order to get along in social or physical shared social or collective reality. As we get more and more people who say, I think we should share everything we have, I think money is silly, I think it's unequally distributed, how can we go without it? How can we live our lives without being enslaved to jobs that we don't want to work? Then guess what starts to happen? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Our world starts to change because the more people who believe in a singular idea, the stronger and the more powerful it is. When I first started UNICULT, I thought, what is the most powerful force on planet Earth? And I said groups of people. Because a tornado or a hurricane can come in and ravage something, but people can just rebuild it. Groups of people are absolutely the most powerful force on the planet. When you realize that and you realize the effect of collaboration and of working together, you'll realize how important UNICULT is. Because what UNICULT is the idea that we can all come together and work together to create a brighter and more hopeful future. And when we're working together, it's inevitable success. Inevitable success. So acknowledge that your own reality is valid, and when you get together with other people who have the same reality, you're actually creating a much more powerful and amazing reality based on your beliefs. When I listened to Dolores Cannon, if you guys know her, talk about the power of multiple people being together, she says that it's squared. So two people working together is 4 times as powerful as one person working together. 3 people working together is 9 times as powerful as 1 person working together. So please, please collaborate with each other, join Unicult, and work with us to create the world that you want to see. Hello? And it's very wonderful. The last version of reality is called ultimate reality. Ultimate reality is the fact, this is what we're talking about when we talk about actual truth, and we talk about the fact that each person's reality is reality. So each person has their own unique perspective. Each molecule has its own unique perspective. Each planet, each possible perspective. If you look at it as information, as data from a higher perspective, each point of information, as it relates to other points of information across the spectrum of time, is valid and is information. And when you take all of that information of each perspective as it relates to each other perspective, each pinpoint of information across time and how they interact and how they change, and I'm talking about micro and macro, so the cells in my body, how they relate to the other cells in my body, how they change when my spirit interacts with other people, that's another pinpoint of information with my own consciousness and how I'm talking to you and how you're feeling me and how we're presenting ourselves right now on this beautiful day in December in 2018, and people in the future are going to watch this and they're going to say, I wish I was there watching that live, and you can be like, I was. Each perspective gets collected into ultimate reality. That's God. I think that's God. That's the experience of God, at least. It's everything. I mean, it's everything. Every perspective. Every viewer here from now and into the future, and from my perspective, is cataloged and understood from the highest perspective. And imagine that you could feel that all at once. That's ultimate reality. I think maybe we should add spiritual reality. Because I think the way that we have physical reality, there's spiritual reality. And when we put energy out into the world and spiritual energy, people can feel it. And I think we're just attuning our brains to being able to experience and tune into that energy. Telepathy is going to become much more accessible for us in the future. And so are gifts like telekinesis and teleportation and beautiful things we can't even begin to imagine. You guys, thank you for joining me for Cam Charts. That's all I have for today. I hope you have a uni-blessed morning, and I love you all, and I hope to see you next week at 9 a.m. Join Unicult. Uni-bless.